Okay, so next up, we'll have a presentation from Q2 Metals. Please help me welcome Alicia Milne, Director, President, and CEO of Q2 Metals. Q2 Metals is a Canadian exploration company focused on advancing lithium and critical minerals in Quebec's James Bay region. Hi, Alicia.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Hi, everyone. As she mentioned, my name is Alicia Milne. I'm the President, CEO, and a Director of Q2 Metals. And I am here today to introduce to you our Cisco project, which is located in James Bay. This is a quick picture that we like to put in here. This is the main outcrop area that was discovered in about 2021, 2022. The vendors of the project essentially landed their helicopter on this large outcrop, got out to have a coffee and looked around and saw what they were standing on, and did some mapping and sampling and did a small drill program and came up with some pretty good results, which drew our attention to the project. Just a quick bio on myself and Neil McCallum, who's sitting in the back there, our VP Exploration. I have a legal background. I've sort of run the gamut of working from all sorts of different companies, from private through to TSX Venture Exchange companies, all the way to New York Stock Exchange listed companies doing legal work for them. Neil McCallum has quite an experienced history in the James Bay region. He was involved with originally staking part of the QTWO project back when it was a smaller company by the name of 92 Resources, I believe. He's been in the James Bay region for probably 10 years or so, looking at various lithium projects. Quick update on our share structure. This is as at May 1st, so it's slightly out of date, but current cash on hand, we have about $7.5 million cash. Current market cap is about $70 million, I believe, at this point, maybe 75. Not really sure what our share price is today. But we do have analyst coverage through Canaccord and through Argonaut in Australia, and for 2024, we are on the TSX Top 50. And over to our Cisco project. So that main outcrop picture that was at the beginning of our presentation here, you can see that up at the very top corner there. That's essentially the main outcropping area that you can see, because the rest of the area is pretty heavily forested. It's in an area where there's a lot of forestry cut blocks. And that last drill hole of the season last year is sort of at the bottom of that picture. That length between the CO1 outcrop and that last drill hole is about 850 meters. And in our winter program, which I'll get into, we actually extended that further south another 650 odd meters. Here's where we are in the James Bay region. You can see your Patriot QTWO project up to the north of us, Winsome's Adina, Rio's Galaxy project, and there we are down in the lower portion of the James Bay region, essentially 150 kilometers north of the town of Matagami, which is also your Canadian National Railway, the railhead there. I believe it was about 2 weeks ago the Quebec government and Rio Tinto announced that they had provided some funding to the town to upgrade the transshipment center there. So I think that'll be a big boom for the area itself, building out the railway hub in the area. Here's a quick overview of what our claim map looks like. The original project that we bought in February 2024 is sort of that small inset that you can see. And then in November, December, we actually extended the mineral claims that we have to cover off a lot of the road area and a lot more of the greenstone belt, just because at that point we were seeing what we were getting results-wise. So we decided that we should have more of the actual area itself. To date, at Cisco, we've drilled a total of 14,622 meters over 37 holes. So still a relatively early project, but with the results we're getting, we're seeing very wide intervals of mineralization, and it's proving up to be quite a world-class project. And this here's our drilling that we've done. So as I mentioned, the vendors did a small drill program. They drilled 6 holes at the top along that CO1 outcrop. When we got out there, essentially, I think it was a year ago this week is when we actually stepped foot on the project and started doing some work. We started drilling, sort of following the same trend that they were drilling and started coming around down to the south. And that's when we stumbled upon hole number 10 there, which had a wide interval of 120 meters that assayed at 1.72% lithium oxide. And as we continued following the mineralization that we were seeing, we then hit hole 18, which was a very large intercept of 215 meters that graded at 1.69%. And hole 21, which set the bar really high for ourselves, was a 347 meter continuous interval that ended up grading at 1.35%. As I mentioned before, we ended the project on hole 23. That was a 188 meter interval. And for our winter program that we did between February and April this year, we were doing large step outs, stepping out 200 to 400 meters. And with hole 27 to the south of us, that was pretty much our best hole of the program. That hit a 179 meter interval that graded at 1.66%. And then followed closely thereafter, there was another 58 meters. And then just after that, there was another 91 meters. So that one drill hole itself is very, very well mineralized and just extended the actual mineralized zone that we're seeing at Cisco to essentially 1.5 kilometers right now by about 650 meters wide. This here's a cross-section that you can see sort of covering a main area of drilling. You can see hole 18 there that had that 250 meter intercept. And the system itself is hanging very well together with these large mineralized intercepts, consistent grade trending to the south. This is a picture. We decided to set the bar really high for ourselves with this, and this is a geologist with all of the core boxes. That was that hole 21 with a 347 meter interval. This here's a long section which just essentially shows every single drill hole that we've drilled, showing the area and how far we've actually come within this past year to 1.5 kilometers. Still open in all directions. And Neil's job this summer is to get back out there and start infilling in some of those between the green dots there. Those are the outcropping areas. Start filling in some of the spacing there and tighten it up a little bit. When we did hit that 347 meter hole, we had quite a few comments saying that we were drilling down dip to it, and there's no possible way we could have hit something that significant. So we have been doing surface and downhole measurements as we go, essentially putting a camera down the hole and taking some measurements there. And it just is going to prove up that we are drilling true width, or as close to true width as we possibly can at this point. And we'll continue to do that as we progress. Metallurgy, we've done initial mineralogical work, which has just gone to show that spodumene is a primary lithium-bearing mineral in the pegmatite. Right now, we do have samples in with the lab to do the first sort of set of work, metallurgy work, and that's essentially to show that we could potentially use DMS in order to separate it. This is a good sort of visual picture that I like to refer to for the non-geologists. Red is good. Red is the actual continuous spodumene intervals. And you can see like hole 18 there with the 250 meter interval. Not only did that have that one 250 meter interval, it also had a couple other intervals in there. So in all manners of speaking, 72% of that hole was very well mineralized, which tends to get lost on the fact when you have such a significant interval. There's also additional ones in there. And that hole 27 that I mentioned there, that was a hole that we just released 2 weeks ago. 56% of that hole was mineralized, but that hole actually ended in mineralization as well. So, again, we're seeing these very long, wide mineralized intercepts. Upcoming catalysts. I mean, we're currently out there doing mapping and sampling. We have about a 41,000 hectare land package. So last year we were only able to essentially work on about a 5 kilometer by 5 kilometer section. So right now we have crews out there driving in, using some of the forestry roads, hiking in, and essentially mapping a lot more of that greenstone belt, which is about a 30 kilometer long greenstone belt there. And then we'll start drilling. So the drill was actually left collared in a hole number 36 at the end of last season. We were we're sort of in a race against time to finish off the last hole, and we didn't get it done before goose break. So that'll be the first hole that we start up, and that was up towards hole 18. And then for the rest of the summer, we'll just get out there and continue drilling, continue stepping out, testing other areas, and at the same time doing some infill drilling here and there just to make sure that the wide mineralized intervals are, in fact, continuing. And why lithium, why Quebec? I mean, Rob had a very good presentation there earlier about lithium and the demand for it. I think there'll be a continued demand, and it's just a matter of the supply-demand metrics working themselves out. Quebec is also a great jurisdiction to be working in. I don't think I've worked in a better jurisdiction in Canada. They're very supportive, and it's a great place to be. That's my presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to come by and see us. Thanks.